Hey everyone, and welcome to today's episode of Empowering You TV. My name is Aime Hutton, and I'm so excited you're here with us. For this semi-brand new show, we're still about a month in, so I'm excited that you're all tuning in, so thank you. I now live in Calgary, Alberta, but I grew up in Pickering, Ontario, about 20 minutes east of Toronto. In each episode, you're going to hear remarkable stories of women who've beaten the odds, risen above all challenges, and are now living their amazing lives full on like the brave, empowered women they're born to be. For more information to be featured on Empowering You TV, please reach out to me, Aime, at inchbyinchempowerment.com. And just to let you know, I am booking into July and August already. So if you want in, send me a message right away and we will get it all figured out. For today's show, I'm excited to introduce you to my friend Jeri. And Jeri and I actually met, I'd say a good 3 or so years ago, and we've been connected through Facebook. She lives in a town away from here where I live, so I was excited that she said yes to being on the show today. So let me read you her bio, her official bio, and then we'll get going. Jeri Tournard, Bachelor of Education, is the founder of Living from Heart Center. Jeri is a self-love and forgiveness coach, mother of 3, published author, inspirational speaker, radio show host, Zen trial therapist, and energy healer. Her mission is to assist people in awakening and opening their hearts and inspiring them to live life to the fullest and courageously express their highest potential and truest nature. Jeri facilitates heart-to-heart circles, workshops, and retreats, including Zen trial therapy retreats and unconditional love retreats, to help people awaken and lead us to the tipping point of a more united world that is healed, connected, and driven by love. Jeri believes that the only problem in the world today is that people don't love themselves. Having healed herself of several health challenges, emotional trauma, and adversity, Jeri now coaches individuals and groups to identify and heal their inner conflict between their mind and emotions, awakening their souls to lead them to a place of inner peace, happiness, and true freedom. She strives to be the world's greatest lover, being and sharing unconditional love with others, awakening deep truth and remembrance within of the divine love that we all are. Jeri is a lover of the adventure of life, embracing and the exploration, expansion, and the expression of our authentic, empowered, and joyful selves in order to experience heaven on earth. Her motto is that life is beautiful and meant to be fun. And Jeri will share more about this later and her website and everything in a little while. So, hi Jeri, I am so glad you're here today. How are things?
Hi Aime, I'm so glad to be here too. Things are wonderful. I am loving life. I feel like I am more on purpose than I've ever been. And I'm just super pleased to chat with you today. Thank you for doing this.
You're welcome. Now, I alluded to, I know where you are. You're in a different part here in Alberta. So where are you in the world?
I live in Spruce Grove, so just west of Edmonton.
Ah.
Yeah.
That's
so not too far from you.
Not too far, about 3.5 hours, I'd say.
Yes.
Yeah. So I know you have a pretty powerful story. And so how about you share with us what in your life you've overcome and share briefly your story with us?
Sure, I would love to. I guess the biggest thing was years ago, I really had a breakthrough. And so I had a whole bunch of different health challenges come up as a result of really having a lot of conflict. So I have 3 daughters, and I was married to a beautiful man, and my marriage just really started to break down. My father had passed away a few years earlier, and so I'd kind of numbed myself and kept myself pretty busy after my father's death, and eventually, and just really didn't pay attention to my feelings very much. I was running around trying to save the world. Meanwhile, my family was falling apart. And one day it just hit me like a ton of bricks that it's actually me that I need to save and my family. And it's not all about all the children in the whole world and that I have this mission to save the world. It starts at home. And I was being called to kind of leave my marriage, even though I had a perfectly good husband, and it didn't make any logical sense. There was some kind of a pull where my heart was just saying, you need to leave, and you have this other mission, and you guys aren't really, you're not helping each other to really live your purpose. And so I had this internal battle that was going on and just pulling me apart. And I thought, my gosh, I'm damned if I do, I'm damned if I don't. And I really felt stuck, so stuck. And then eventually, I started to just go numb, like my whole body would go numb and tingly. And I had pain throughout my body. So lots of doctor's visits. Eventually, I was diagnosed with mitral valve prolapse and with lupus and with major thyroid problems. And pretty much it was affecting everything in my body. So I had a lot of pain, inflammation everywhere. And thankfully, at that point, I'd done a lot of personal development, and I really, truly believed that I could heal myself. And that's kind of where I found my purpose. So 3 years in and out of the hospital, and really praying more than I'd ever prayed, and surrendering to God, universe, whatever. I wasn't even sure what was out there, but I knew I needed support, and I really wanted to be there for my kids. So I was afraid, like I was afraid of dying, really. And from that point, I just decided that I was going to meditate on perfect health every night. So I started to meditate on perfect health. And every time I felt pain, I would send love to the pain. And I would just like breathe my own light and love into the center of the pain and just say, I'm sorry, I love you. And I did that probably for a year. Every single night I was quite dependent on my meditations. Like I put in these paraliminals, so I had my headphones in every night. And that was really the only way I could fall asleep, because I had so much fear and anxiety running through me. And so eventually that calmed down, and very slowly my symptoms subsided. I was a little disappointed because it didn't happen overnight. But you know, somebody said, Jeri, this is a lifetime it took coming on. You're not going to heal overnight. And that was just what I needed to hear to stick with it and have faith that I could get better, that this wasn't a death sentence, that I don't necessarily have to go on medication or take on those labels or identify myself as, you know, someone with lupus, for example. And yeah, I have no symptoms now. I feel amazing. So it, you know, self-love really does work.
That's awesome. That's
Yeah.
an awesome story. Wow, Jeri, thank you. Thank you for sharing that. And what a brave choice to listen to your heart, and then leave your husband that was a loving man, and like he wasn't a bad, you know, abusive man or anything like that, that you left him. That's pretty powerful. Wow. That's really
We're best friends now.
Oh, so that's good.
It all worked out in the end. It was difficult for a time, and now, yeah, I'm just so grateful for the way that things have all worked out.
Yeah. Now, is there anything in your life that you went through and you shared with us that from your past that you would want to change?
Nope. I seriously believe that you find your purpose in your pain. And you go through what you go through so you can help other people go through what you've been through. And let me tell you, my coaching clients are going through a lot of the same kind of stuff I went through, like a marriage that's not really good enough to stay, not really bad enough to leave, some, you know, serious health challenges, which is really just as trilotherapy. Like when I studied with the Zen Buddhist master, I really learned what was happening, that it was just this real big split between my head and my heart, just in opposition to one another. Mm-hmm. And you really do just need to love yourself. Like, I love myself. So having, you know, the I being more of the masculine head part, and myself being our feminine emotion.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so I wouldn't change anything. I mean, I wouldn't have learned what I learned if I hadn't gone through everything I went through. So.
Oh, totally. Yeah.
Yeah.
So, Jeri, can you tell me, I have an idea what this is, but can you tell me what your why is and why you do what you do today?
Because I really want people to experience even a glimpse of what I've had the privilege of experiencing. Mm-hmm. That comes as a result of knowing yourself, really. So I want people to stop identifying themselves through their shame and guilt and things that have happened to them or that they've done in the past, and start to see themselves with the right eyes of love. You know, see their soul and the divinity in themselves. And when you know yourself, like who you really are as love, as a divine soul, you can't help but love yourself, and everything changes. Everything.
Oh, I bet.
Yeah.
This must go into what you do for your business. So
yeah.
What is your business about, and what do you do? And please explain what trilotherapy is.
Yes, thank you. Well, I guess I identify myself for my business purposes as a self-love and forgiveness coach, because I really feel that shame and guilt cycle, you know, and guilt, we're taught, demand is, you know, when you're guilty, you deserve to be punished. So guilt demands punishment. We attract situations and people that continue to cause us pain and suffering. And so it's about, we need to forgive ourselves and break the cycle of shame and guilt. That's the biggest block in the way to loving ourselves. So the forgiveness. Mm-hmm. And then the trilotherapy was founded by a Zen Buddhist master named Nissim Amon. And I studied with him for 4 years. So he came to Canada from Israel for consecutive years. And he developed trilotherapy, which is basically, the tri is 3. So basically body, mind, and soul, or body, mind, and spirit. But he referred to them as your inner children are your head and your heart, your masculine and feminine. So he says, we all have a son and we all have a daughter in our home. And then we are the parent. So we're not them, we're not our thoughts, we're not our emotion. We are the loving awareness, or the parent of our 2 inner children, our head and our heart. And so we need to heal our inner home in order for our outer home to be less dramatic and to release our suffering. Because we really don't need to be suffering. We create our own suffering because we have all of this pain, this internal pain, and this internal battle that we're fighting every day, and it's exhausting. And a lot of people have, you know, they really live from a very heady place, a very top-heavy place, mm-hmm. feeling like it's not really safe to be who they are or to express themselves, like it's weak to cry, vulnerable. They see, you know, being vulnerable as weakness. And so our heart is feeling like it's in prison and just longing to express and to feel safe to express. But our heads are so fearful, like what, you might be rejected. You might be abandoned. Remember what happened last time you fell in love? It didn't end so well, did it? You know, so things like that. It just really operates from a lot of fear. And so that's what trilotherapy is really an internal mediation process between our head and our heart. Okay. So they can forgive each other and they can work together. And then awakening the parent. So that loving awareness and the watcher that can remind them that everything really is all right, that life is beautiful, and that we're supposed to have fun. It's not supposed to be all dark and serious. Mm-hmm. So yeah, it works great when we really open that conversation between the 3.
Yeah, that sounds really cool. Thanks for taking the time to share that. That was interesting to learn the head and the heart. Yeah, that's pretty cool. I like that. Do you have any testimonials that you can share, or a story of one of your clients who has changed from working with you?
I have lots, but yeah, here's one of my favorites. So I just have it. So one of my trilotherapy clients, And I love trilotherapy because it does work on all levels, right? Body, mind, and spirit. And a lot of traditional therapies kind of miss that whole energetic aspect, right? And so let me find it. Yeah, so one of my clients that did kind of the personal mastery of self-love and awakening, she says, looking back to that dark time in my life, I cannot thank Jeri enough or give enough praise to the work she does. In 4 short but long months, I have made incredible progress, more than I made in all my previous 20-some years of therapies combined. I've had more earth-shattering breakthroughs, more deep healing, more understanding of who I am than ever before. I have stopped using drugs and alcohol, stopped gambling, stopped hating myself. And for the first time in my life, I am feeling the unfamiliar, delicious, beautiful sensation of loving myself. Thank you, Jeri. You saved my life.
Nice. Yay. That's awesome.
My Maureen. I love her.
That's awesome.
Yeah. So that's the trilotherapy one. And then the Ho'oponopono forgiveness. Mm-hmm. I've had people say their sex life is improved. The one lady said, Jeri, I have to thank you. I have felt a complete difference since our last session. Like some dark heaviness has been lifted. Even my sex life has opened up, like, wow, like in capitals. And she says, sorry, I just had to share because my energy has changed so much. Sending you so much love and light. Thank you, thank you, thank you.
That's awesome.
Yeah, I love what I do. I mean, people really do need to feel lighter and know that they're loved and lovable, that there really isn't anything wrong with them.
Yeah, totally. That's awesome. Yeah. That's great. Thanks for sharing those. And it's amazing. We're going to switch questions a little bit. Thanks. And I want to know, how do you, Jeri, stay empowered in your own life?
Really through breath. I have to say that's like my main go-to is just remembering to stop, to slow down, to take a few conscious breaths, and to arrive in each moment. That presence is so incredibly important for us to be present for ourselves so that our heart can feel safe to express whatever's there, because that's how it heals. You have to feel to heal. But people think, they push that stuff down. So that conscious breathing has been the most important thing for me, and just thinking, okay, have I arrived with Aime? Have I arrived in this moment? And taking a few breaths to really arrive in my body, arrive with the person I'm with, arrive at the dinner table when I sit at the table, arrive in bed when I go to bed, and let go of all of that monkey mind that'll pull me out of that presence. And then, of course, I'm constantly reading and learning and hanging out with my tribe, either facilitating workshops or attending workshops to keep myself feeling empowered and growing and learning.
That's awesome. That's so cool. That's so good. Yeah, breath and being conscious and present is huge, and that's really awesome. Mm-hmm. You almost alluded to it, but what is one book or movie or a song that empowers you to keep going when times are not so great?
Hard to pick one. I have to say this song the first time I heard it, I just started bawling, was a John Denver song called It's About Time.
Oh.
So he talks about how it's about time that we all come together, the family of man, that there really is no separation. And he says, there's a man, in one of the lines, it's, there's a man who is my brother. I just don't know his name, but I know that he feels the same. I know his family, and I know he feels the same. And it hurts me when he's hungry and when his children cry. I too am a father. His little ones are mine. And I've always felt that way. Like, we're all so connected and affected. There's a lot of pain and suffering, and I just really want to help alleviate that,
Yeah.
Yeah. So that song, the words hit me like a ton of bricks when I went to a personal development course and listened to that song, and And I thought, that's it. That's my theme song. It's about time. Like, we need to do this, and we need to do this now. Like, wake up.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's pretty neat. And like, for example, like being connected and everything, like for myself, I don't have children, but you know, the young ladies I've had the honor and pleasure to work with, like they feel like my own, because I'm so proud of them, you know, like seeing them grow and, you know, how they transform. It's awesome. So what is one simple step that our viewers can do to empower themselves?
Well, I've already kind of talked about the breath, because that's really important, to just slow their breathing and the few conscious breaths. And I would say the other one that I would say would make all the difference is to appreciate themselves. So stop depreciating yourself and start appreciating yourself. In the mirror every night, in your journal, what are you proud of yourself for? And really acknowledge what a beautiful divine being you are, all of the efforts that you're putting in. And we need to treat ourselves like we're someone we love. And my Zen master would say the day of enlightenment is the day that you treat yourself like you're someone you love. So practice, and you will get better and better, and it will just melt away everything that's in the way.
That's awesome. That's so cool. Thank you. What is something you would want to tell, or a message you want to give to the next generation of girls about empowering themselves? So, for example, if you could go back in time and tell your 11-year-old self something, what would that be?
You're okay, just the way you are. Like, sweetie, just be yourself, and there really is nothing wrong with you. You are good enough. You're perfect, you're whole, you're complete, and you are good enough.
Yes, that's very, very true and very, very important. And I agree. I agree. Is there someone, Jeri, you would want to thank who inspires you to be your best self, who's helped you when going through a difficult time? If you could write a thank you card to that person, who is it and what would you say?
There's a lot. I mean, I've had the privilege of meeting so many amazing mentors and spiritual teachers and leaders. My dad comes up because I learned so much from his life and from his death that really has assisted me in becoming who I am and finding my strength and courage to share with others. And there's a beautiful man, Brian Miller. He did a course called The Heart of the Samurai that was really impactful for me many years ago, and I guess it was in 2009. And there was an activity that I just froze, and it was all about letting go of, well, basically just letting go of anything that's in the way of you moving forward. And so I made it represent so much, and I froze, and I just couldn't do this activity. And he saw me, and he did not give up on me. And he's like, I'm not leaving until you do this, Jeri. And I remember like just leaning over the side of this cliff and just dropping like 2 boulders over this cliff. And all of a sudden I heard this screaming and this like wailing. And it was a total out-of-body experience. I realized it was me. It was coming from me. This big wailing sound, this like, it was so impactful. And honestly, if he hadn't come and sat down with me and saw me and said, I'm not leaving until you do this, I wouldn't have done it. And that changed my life.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's pretty powerful. That's pretty awesome. Thank you. So let's get back to business type stuff. And what is coming up that our viewers should know about? What do you got going on?
Lots. This Saturday, I have a full day workshop called How to Love and Be Loved. And so it's really about living life free from judgment and really moving from that place of judging ourselves and situations and others to a place of genuine compassion. So that's kind of a taste of my unconditional love retreat that's coming up in May. So that's a 4-day retreat, May 4th to 7th. And I have a Zen Trilotherapy retreat coming up April 7th to 9th. And I still have 2 spots for that retreat. So I have all my events posted on my meetup site, Living from Heart Center. And so you can find all the details there. But yeah, I'm pretty stoked about all of them.
Cool. That's pretty cool. That's awesome, Jeri. Those sound really neat and will be fun workshops to be at and retreats to be at. So let's dream for a second. Your dream board is up there behind you. What's next for you, or what's another intention that you have set for yourself?
I want to travel more. So I would really love, because I've been kind of keeping my retreats in the Edmonton area, and I've done a couple workshops in Calgary. I'm branching out a little bit, but I would really love to, go to Peru and Bali and Hawaii and just really share this in a bigger way, traveling around the world and helping everyone to love themselves, and teens. I'd really like to help teenage girls in particular to love themselves, and forgive themselves, and know that they are beautiful.
Yeah, that's a pretty powerful subject, as similar, because that's what part of Financial Empowerment is about too, is that whole love yourself piece with the teen and tween girls. You mentioned your meetup group, so let's go more into how can they contact you? What's your website or an email address or something like that?
Yeah, so I'm on Facebook, and it's Living from Heart Center, and center with ER, not RE. Meetup is the best place to see all of my events, and so that's just meetup.com/Living from Heart Center, and my email address is livingfromheartcenter@gmail.com. My website is not up to date. Same thing, livingfromheartcenter.com. So pretty much if you Google Living from Heart Center, you'll find me.
Awesome.
And I'm pretty active on Facebook. So
cool. Yeah, that's really good. So Jeri, I'm so grateful and so thankful that you were here today, and it was so much fun and get to know you a bit more. And do you have any final words of wisdom that you want to share for our viewers as we end our show today?
I would say what's coming up is just that phrase again, how important it is to speak to yourself and treat yourself like you are important and like you're someone you absolutely love and adore. So start with looking in the mirror and saying the things that you long to hear, and just really doing something special for yourself.
Oh, that's awesome. That's great, Jeri. Thank you again, and thanks. It was such a pleasure having you on Empowering You TV. Hang on a second, and I'll get back to you in a couple of minutes.
Sure.
So, bye.
Thank you.
Bye. Remember, everyone, inch by inch, you can overcome any challenge that is in front of you. I believe in you, and I know you can get through anything. Till next time, be brave, be bold, and be yourself. See you next time.